What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be completing the all LED conversion of the RSX. Some of you may recall a few months back, it's probably been close to a year now, where I upgraded all of the tail light lights to LEDs. In that video, I also went inside the car and we upgraded the dome lights to LEDs as well. We did the cargo light and we did the license plate light. I thought I was done with most of the LED conversions to the car. I thought everything else was up front. Some of you pointed out that I did not change this light to LEDs. Rest assured, that is happening today. But there is one other light that I have not changed to LED that I completely overlooked. Trust me, I know. I couldn't think of it either until I noticed it about 4 or 5 days ago. Go ahead. Keep guessing. Good job. It's called the map light. And how I could ever forget such a crucial part of this vehicle, I will never know. Easy one to forget. Oh my goodness, this may not fit. I was told this would fit. I don't know if it will. Well, we're gonna make it fit. And it fits. All right, let's move on. Well, that was only slightly annoying. So this bulb is known as a DE 3022. At least that's what I've been able to figure out. This, I don't know if this bulb right here is actually factory or not. Regardless, everything that you can read online says that that's a DE 3022. And this package is a DE 3175, but it's also compatible with the DE 3022 or 3021. That bulb was much fatter than this. The prongs are able to spread out far enough to accommodate for the bigger bulb here. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call that a direct replacement, but regardless, it does technically work. We're just gonna write that off, and I will probably never, ever, ever, ever have to replace that again. Before we get into the meat of the video today, of installing all the fun stuff, we gotta do some boring stuff real quick. So if you're gonna be doing this to an RSX, probably honestly most any headlight, unless you just have tons and tons of room to access them from inside the engine bay, it'd probably be in your best interest just to go ahead and remove the headlights. So that's what we're gonna do. This is what the headlight looks like when you've got it out of the car on the bench. So what you want to do now is remove all 5 of the bulbs that are inside the headlight. We've already removed this running light right here. It's still actually attached to the car. I just twisted it off and pulled it out like this because I just thought it was easier than trying to unclip it. This one has a different clip style for some reason, but it's not going to hurt anything. You can just twist it out and pull it out. But as I said earlier, just be very careful, because if you yank on this thing too hard or something like that, this bulb can actually hit the side of the headlight housing and pop off and end up inside the headlight. Now we're going to focus on getting the other lights out, so they just twist counterclockwise, just like with everything. There's that one. All right, so we got both the running lights out. Next thing we're gonna go for is the turn signal bulb. That's this one right here. And you'll notice that this guy is actually amber. In the state of Alabama, and in most states, your turn signals need to be either amber or orange or yellow or whatever, or they can technically be red. But you just want to make sure that the LEDs that you get for your turn signals are amber or of a light color, because if they're bright white like these are, then you know, I don't know if a cop would actually give you issues with it. But I just want to follow the rules of the road here, you guys. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Look up your own local laws and make sure it's okay what you're doing. Just make sure that when you order your bulbs, you're ordering the correct color and intensity that you desire, but that are also legal to be used on the road. Next, we're gonna remove the low beam. So you wanna pull off this guy right here. And part of me really wishes that they would have just used the same kind of style for the low beam, the connection style as they did for the high beam. I'll show you guys that in a moment. But this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to just pull the headlight off of the car, because this thing is such a pain in the butt to get off when it's still inside of the car. So we're going to pull this out. This is actually an adapter, so it goes in here just like this. And you want to pay close attention to the orientation that this headlight went in. We're going to come back to this in a moment, but that's out. Don't touch the bulb with your fingertips. It's still a good bulb, so we're just going to leave it be. But so that's that. So now this is the very last bulb. This is the high beam. This bulb is also a good bulb. This bulb is original as far as I can tell. This headlight is a Honda headlight made by Koito. You can tell that your headlight is still a Honda headlight. If you look in this corner right here, it'll say Honda Koito. So Koito made all of the headlight housings for Honda for a long time. I don't know if they still do. High beam bulb is super easy to get to. Well, it's super easy to change when it's out on the bench like this. You just turn it counterclockwise and pull it out. And that's it. You don't have to pull this out of the socket like you do with this one. I like this a lot better. It creates its own seal. It's really, really nice. You don't have to deal with this little clip. And this also says Koito on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Ziploc bag to put this in so that way it stays clean. So obviously, guys, I'm just going to show you this one headlight. I'm not going to do both of them on camera. That's dumb. It's the same process for each one. So now it's time to start installing the LED lights that I have for this. Everything that I have purchased will be down in the description below. So if you have any questions or concerns, just look down there. I will have them clearly labeled for what you need for this car. First thing we're going to do is we're going to swap out this guy. This guy, it's technically it's a 921 bulb. Technically, I believe this is a 194. I believe that either of these will work. I'm pretty sure. I don't see why not. But this is a 921, and don't worry, you can touch all over this thing. It's not going to hurt it. These are light emitting diodes, LED, so it's not going to get hurt by your hands or anything like that. And so we're going to turn right around here at the car. We're going to pull out this old glass halogen bulb. That thing is garbage now. And we're going to slot this guy in. You want to test all these lights before you install everything back into the car, especially with this, because this is a little bit bigger of a job than doing the rear. Now we're going to move on to this guy. This is a 194, and like I showed you guys just a moment ago, here we go. Here's that 194, and we've got that pushed in, so that one's good to go. I'm actually just going to turn around right here real quick and plug this guy in. Moving on to the turn signal real fast. Amber/yellow, pack of 2, and these are 7440s. They should work perfect. They're really, really cool looking. So I'm not as concerned about touching these. There's really nothing you can do unless you're gonna wear latex gloves when you do this. Let's see, Koito, Japan. So I'm gonna keep these because they work. It's really, really cool that a lot of these bulbs are factory bulbs. In fact, I think the only one that isn't factory is this one, because I know I've changed this out for a Sylvania in the past. So we're going to take this 7440 amber and we're going to get it shoved in there. And these can take a little doing. It's in. We're going to turn it right around here. We're going to plug this one in, make sure that it's good to go. Definitely want to make sure that the turn signal bulbs are working and they're the correct color. We're going to move on to the bright, the high beams as they call them. It's got a ZR1 on this. It says that it's a 300% brighter than your factory bulbs. May be true. This has gotten very good reviews on Amazon. These are foreign, the high beams are, but the low beams are car rovers. I've never opened these before, so you guys will see what I see. User manual. We've got some zip ties here and some kind of pads and little Allen head. I don't really know what that's about. Very nice packaging, very clean. I like what they've done here. Here's the actual bulb itself. I like this a lot. It's very neat. A little bit tangled up here in the packaging. Come on now. There we go. This does have an orientation just as the factory bulb did. I believe this is the only way that this can go. And it does have a rubber O-ring there, so that's good. So we're going to take this, press in, and then twist. And it's installed. Not work, tried to flip the plug over. See, that's very cool to see. We're getting into the realm of This being a more common thing. Plug is the exact same. It's a little bit more simplified. This actually has little prongs on the inside, but this just doesn't have them. Fine, gonna work fine. I've been saving this for last because I think I may have messed up just a little bit. Hey guys, Brandon from the future here. So I just wanted to kind of clear up some confusion that's probably about to happen. So I've got the Car Rover low beam LEDs installed into the car, or the headlight. And I'm about to show where I ordered 2 different adapters for it to seat into the headlight housing. The first adapter that I bought actually ended up being the correct one. There is a separate adapter that actually looks more correct, I suppose, and when you look on Amazon, and I'll have both of these linked in the description. Basically, the first, I'll put a picture up right here. This is the clip you need to use for the Car Rover LED headlights that I'm using. It works. It's the only thing that I can get to work. The ones I'm showing on the screen now, it even has a photo of an RSX, which is great, but they do not work with these specific low beam LED headlights that I'm using in my car. Now, I've read the reviews for these adapters, and it says that, you know, oh, these work great for my HID headlights, or, you know, and a few others, but I'm sure that there's some HID headlights or some LED headlights that work great with these, and these actually technically do fit into the housing much, much better because they're designed to mimic the look of the factory adapters, but they still do not work with these low beam headlights that I purchased. This is the low beam kit from Car Rover. Also very, very good reviews. These are H1 LED bulbs, and these work in multitudes of cars. A lot of cars use H1 bulbs, okay? And look, there's the Silverado. Hey! I've actually already installed it into the car. I jumped the gun, got a little froggy. These have already been in the car for a little while. Here's the thing. Here's a brand new pack of these adapters, right? Here's the old one. This adapter, when I was reading up on these, before I purchased them on Amazon, I read where I went to the bottom and I just typed in Honda, and someone said, this works great in my Honda, Accord, CRV, whatever, I don't know. But make sure you get the adapter for it to work right. Adapter, what? Okay, whatever. This is why I really wish this was just like this. Like, I really don't see why it would have been a problem. Have the same type of connector, but just use a different bulb intensity, I guess. I don't really know what they were going for. I always thought that it really didn't matter. It was just based on angle and all that stuff. But you have to have these little adapters. So the LED bulbs come with these little adapters on them, just like this, okay? Pull this thing off. A lot of people don't realize this. This little collar comes off of the bulb itself. This little collar goes in here, and this notch matches this notch on the old bulb, on the old H1 bulbs. This notch goes into the housing just like that. I mean, it's not gonna stick there, but it goes into, there we go. It goes into that notch just like that. This adapter, you see how it's got this little protrusion right here on the edge? It goes onto the collar just like this. And you wanna orient the collar where it's in the notch, just like so. You wanna go ahead and lock this thing down. This is the beauty of having LED bulbs. Okay, now that that's locked down, you wanna take your boot here and you want to run your wires through it. And you could cut your boot to help accommodate for there to be more air that can circulate through this. I'm not gonna do that. I think that this is gonna be an adequate amount of space for air to come through. So now that that's in there like that, you can just take your bulb and shove it into the hole and it's installed. So I do like this system. I love the genius behind the design of the LED bulbs. So then you can just take your rubber boot to keep moisture out and shove it back on. And I believe that that fan's gonna get adequate airflow. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. You've got your turn signal, your 2 running lights, your high beam, and your low beam connected up. Everything's where it needs to be. So let's start testing. And one quick tip, just in case something were to happen, these bulbs should last forever. They shouldn't have a problem. These bulbs are actually rated to be pretty good. The bulbs that are in the CBR, they're also LED. They were the cheapest ones I could find at the time, and they're still working. But just in case something goes awry, I would take your original low beam adapters and I would just throw them in the glove box. We're going to go ahead and test all of these bulbs first. Then we're going to hook up the high and lows and check those out. So the easiest way to check all these bulbs is just to turn on your hazards and flip on the headlights. All right, so we got 2 out of 3. That one's working good. That one's working fantastic. That looks awesome. I really love the way that looks. That's amazing. So we need to take this guy and flip him. And he's working too. All right, here's another thing that we need to focus on. We've got the turn signal in there and it's working. Looks great. Here's the problem with it. If you turn your turn signal on, then turn the key on, you're gonna get hyper blink because the car thinks that this bulb was shot because it's not drawing enough current. You need to order yourself some of these resistors. Link in the description. I'm going to be making a separate video from this one showing you guys how to install these, so be looking for that very, very soon. It's probably already up. If I've got the video made or whatever, I'll put it in a card or something, but just be aware of that. Let's go ahead and check to make sure the high and low beams are working. Actually, the low beams are a little bit easier to get figured out. So I'll show you guys that real quick. So on this adapter right here, or on these leads, I should say, for the low beam, you've got a black wire and a red wire. Okay, that's power and ground. Well, on this plug for the H1, you've got a red wire and a black wire. It's as simple as that, folks. Just plug these things in to the corresponding wires, just like that. And then we're just gonna take a shot in the dark on this one. Let's see, we're just gonna go with this. This has a plus and minus on it. Actually, we may have gotten it. This plug has a plus and minus on it right here, as you can see maybe. And these wires are both red, but one has a blue stripe and one has a yellow stripe. And in my experience, the lighter color is power and the darker color is ground. I was right. So now we've got the low beam working. You can tell, you can see it right there, it's working. And we've got this extremely bright high beam. Oh my goodness. Oh, it hurts. I'm very, very pleased with that. So real quick, you guys, I just wanted to show you the install of the resistor that I did on this side of the car. I really am pleased with this. I think this looks awesome. I've got this sheathing right here that I've had for a long time, and it fits over smaller wires. Yeah, I mean, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's gonna work and it's gonna be pretty concealed. They're not ever really gonna be able to see it. I also wanted to show you guys this diagram that comes with the resistors whenever you get it. So literally just hook one side up to power, one side up to ground. You shouldn't have any issues. And there's more instructions if you have a turn signal that is also like a running light. So, you know, you got your brake or turn signal and then the ground connection there. So yeah, this whole thing is pretty helpful. So I just wanted to show you guys that, just that way it's referenced in the video. So yeah, moving on. Real quick, I wanted to go over some things that I have done that you guys didn't see because I didn't film it. Really, all I did is that I took care of the low beam headlights. So they had, like I showed earlier in this video, they had the 2 prongs that came out, and it came out, you know, and sure, if you were to buy these LED bulbs, they would work out of the box. I think that's kind of the whole point behind it. So you could buy these and then take your factory plug here that is on the RSX and plug them in, and you would receive power and ground, and the light would turn on. I was not super satisfied with that. They were it was kind of janky, and they would not hold the connection. I plugged them in and they would kind of fall out, you know, if I was driving down the road. So to remedy that, I went to the parts house and I got these 2-pin connectors, and I just wired them in. I actually did solder these because I thought it was kind of important. So I soldered these together, so it came with this plug right here, that end, and then I just came into the stock wiring harness right here, and I kept the factory plug, so if I ever need to, for emergency purposes only, if I ever need to go back to a factory bulb, I can. But I just wired in this plug, and so now I can, you know, run the LED lights, and if I ever have to change something out, sure, that's something custom that I did that I'll have to deal with. You can do it too. It's really, really easy. On this, I just use butt connectors, just like we did with the last video when I did the resistors for the turn signals. I just use butt connectors and it works fine. I went a little bit further on this and used solder because I just thought it probably would be worth it. All right, we're gonna install the driver's side headlight real quick. Got the turn signal. This is the one of the two running lights. High beam right here. And plus and minus, got that straight. Then we got our handy dandy wiring harness for the low beam done by yours truly. And then we've got our secondary, like outside running light. Just got to make sure none of this wiring gets caught up. All right. I'm going to throw a couple of bolts. There are just going into plastic after all. I'm just getting them in there to kind of hold it in place. We will be filming this section of the video in semi-darkness. Low beams. Nice. Let's take a look at that. All the running lights are on, it seems like. So when you flip the headlight switch on all the way, this first running light comes on, this second running light comes on, and the low beams kick on. You can hear the fans of the low beam LED bulbs kind of whirring up there. Looks really good, you guys. It's really bright. Looks like the headlights are pretty even. The car is kind of uneven right now because it's on the jack. So I'm sure you guys think that those low beams are bright. Well, I hope you've all made your peace with God, because here comes the high beams.
Oh, Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable. My eyes!
Holy Jesus! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh Jesus! Look, can you guys see? Can you guys see heaven in there? All right. Enough of that. Let's check the turn signals, see how they look. Those look pretty good. I mean, they can't shake a stick at the high beams or anything like that, but they actually do show up when the high beams are on. That's pretty great. This is crazy. I'm seeing spots in my eyes. Let's check out the turn signals without any other lights on. Oh yeah, they look cool. I mean, they look really cool how it's kind of literally just like an on-off switch, where the halogen bulbs, they would kind of like fade in and out because they can't keep up. They can't actually keep up. So these are just like, they look really, really crisp and they look really, really clean. My only hope is that they show up pretty good during the day. I think they will, because I did a lot of research behind all of these bulbs just to make sure I got some of the brightest ones I could get my hands on. It seems like that they'll do fine, but only time will tell. We'll have to check them out in the sunlight, see how they look, but they look pretty good. I really like them. I'm going to throw the bumper back on, and we're going to go for a test drive in a different video and check and see how we like the LEDs. But I'm not going to show you guys how to put the bumper back on. That's pretty straightforward. You guys saw me take it off. So this is going to wrap up the full LED conversion of the RSX. There is not one single bulb on this car that is not an LED. I'm calling it. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you got a lot of good information and help out of this. I know this video is probably maybe pretty long or maybe split up into a couple different parts. I apologize, but I just wanted you guys to get the full story and the full picture of how we did this. So I really, really do hope that you got a lot out of it. Thank you for coming along with me and checking out the video. As always, guys, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. That helps me out a ton. Be sure to like the videos and share them with your dog. Tip your waitresses, eat your vegetables, and have a great night. I will see you in the next video.